Hey, what's up, Toby?
Hey.
We've made it to podcast number 26.
Whoop, whoop. All
You know what
right.
that means?
Halfway
It's a
home.
half a year. Half a year.
High five.
We did it.
Well done. I had to do an audible because this is
Yeah.
awful. So that
Yes.
noise
I
was
mean,
a high five.
it was a good high five. I like it. All right. Today's
You're
topic.
rolling on, dude.
The question that I would like to answer
Yeah.
is, can you reduce process debt if you don't have psychological safety in your job?
Wow. Brother. Man. Yeah. Can you make a change, and can you make a hard change, which is redesigning process?
Can you?
If
Yeah.
don't feel safe.
Can you even get stuff back? Can you even make stuff better?
Oh, man. Do you think of an example where you felt that psychological safety? I immediately go to the answer of, oh, all the times we've tried, and for all the cultural and interpersonal reasons, it was unnecessarily hard. Do you have a good example? Let's talk about a good example.
My first job out of college, which I've told you about.
Yeah.
I was 22 and arrogant, working at a
As this could be.
manufacturing company. Yeah.
Yeah.
As you are when you're 20, because
Dude, you're 22 now.
I mean,
know?
what don't you know when you're 22?
Let me show you my degree. Hello.
Yeah. We both have kids that are 22, and you're just like, aren't you cute?
Yeah. Yeah. It looks different on this side of the pond. Yeah.
You're like, man, you are so confident without experience, but you just keep going. Love it. You do you, boo.
That's right.
But my first job out of college, I had, I've always been an Excel wizard.
Yeah.
And I was given a lot of freedom to go and create this spreadsheet that then eliminated my job, and then I got bored, and then I got laid off. But the reality is for that time that I was creating that spreadsheet,
Yeah.
my boss, and I don't know what kind of air cover he provided. Like, I have literally no idea.
Yeah.
I'm sure he provided more air cover than I thought. And I thought I was just this, whiz in the corner. Just, I thought I was probably Steve Jobs just banging away at a computer.
Yeah.
But I was free to go and create something that eventually eliminated my job and half another person's job.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if that was psychological safety or just, young hubris.
Well, what's interesting in that is the action that you felt supported in taking and encouraged to carry forward. There was never any conversation about the potential consequence of. And so in some ways, that's even worse than not feeling safe, because now you feel like you're doing the right thing, you're getting the right feedback, and then you get your career ripped right underneath your wee little 22-year-old feet.
Well, and the reality is like, looking back, that was the economy, and it wasn't. Well, and I was so bored, man. I was literally answering the phones. I didn't know what to do. Like, by noon on Monday, I was done for the week. It was the craziest thing ever. But like, again, like, what was nice about it, and I think this is missing in most jobs, is I had a plan.
Yeah.
I had the freedom to go and possibly fail.
Yeah.
But at least I had the opportunity.
Yeah. I love that. There's a couple elements, I think, that have shifted, right? So every generation, every young graduate or person entering the workforce has said, "Oh, this is the worst possible time to be entering the workforce, because
terrible. It's always terrible.
we don't know any better, and it sounds like a great reason why we didn't just get a job offer on day one." Economy. But what's interesting to me, Chris, is that I think about some work I did with a client a few years ago, and they'd been founder-led for 40 years.
Wow.
And then private equity took notice and said, "Hey, we can build an asset around this company. We're going to acquire them and build an entire piece of our portfolio in this space." And what was shocking was the folks that had been through that private equity, alligator, the pig through the python kind of experience, are all like, "Oh shit."
Yeah.
And it's because they knew it is not safe to be the nail that's taller than all the other nails. It's not safe to sign up for an aggressive agenda.
Yeah.
And do anything but meet the expectations of an Excel sheet. There's no
Yeah.
emotion.
Yeah.
If your explicit goal, is strictly to extract cash. And I feel like so
Yeah.
many people are now building business and then throwing process at it
Yeah.
as if they're going to have the next big 10x exit instead
Yeah.
of building cultures that feel safe. And then they ask, gosh, why does nobody care about my damn spreadsheet? Why is our strategy not being achieved? Where's the reductions in bad
Yeah.
process? And so private
Yeah.
equity just says, well, that's easy. The process you need to clear is the one that has 20% of your headcount.
Yep.
So go do that and then come back.
Yeah, come tell me how it went.
We don't know the details of your business.
Yeah.
Just go lay them off.
Yeah, that's fine.
When you run a business by metrics, and I think we touched on this at least last week, you can have all the metrics in the world.
Yeah.
But if what you don't understand is your purpose, if your purpose
Yeah.
is solely for wealth development for a few, and nobody's job is safe, and I think that probably resonates with a lot of listeners and friends and family,
Yeah.
I don't know anybody saying, I've got a lot of job security these days. Then it's really hard for you to be able to leave your work at work and then still lead your life. There's an overhang of the stress. And this idea of psychological, I really love this, Chris, because I'm trying to think of the last time I really felt safe. It is that measure of air cover, certainly, but also understanding what's next, at least for me.
Well, and what's funny is I think a lot of times we get mixed messages as employees or colleagues,
Sure.
where it's like, we want you to dream big and we want you to try big things. Oh, and when you fail, we're just going to come at, like, we're going to just rip you a new one. And you're like you can't have it both ways.
No.
And then the harder part about that is like, I think it's very difficult to align an entire org. And the bigger it is, the harder it is. The harder it is to align the entire thing.
100%.
And you can pick the CEOs that have turned companies around or have basically like kind of put a stake in the ground. And that is a small number outside of the founders, right? Everybody knows Bezos and, Jobs and all these people. And,
except for the guys involved with Elon Musk's company, nobody knows the founders there. But anyway, continue. Sorry.
Yeah, there's that. There is that. But even the founders get romanticized.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, the reality is Steve Jobs was not the one that was like, hey, let's do the iPhone.
Right.
Like, it was not his idea. It was his people's idea, and his people just kept coming to him. Now, he took the credit.
Yep.
But there's a lot that went into that.
Yeah.
That we don't know about.
The only name I ever hear about that second evolution of the whole Apple world is John Ivey. And rightly so.
Oh, yeah.
Very deserving.
Yeah. Design.
But it wasn't a singular effort. We don't hear about this entire legion of product and designers and folks that had sleepless nights and, only met their kids once they were over the age of 18.
Yeah.
We don't hear about the sacrifices that people make.
Yeah.
And so, it's interesting. What does psychological safety look like to you as we sit here now at this stage of life? Like, when they say dream big, when they say, Chris, how can we tackle this and bring our processes, into snuff where we want them? What is that? What's that need that you could start to come to mind,
Oh, that's interesting. For me, it's alignment.
Alignment.
Like true strategy.
Okay. You want to see the line of sight. If I do this, how does it drive strategy?
Yeah. I want to be able to say, hey, look, my thing goes to this thing, which goes to this thing, which goes to this thing.
Yeah.
And the hardest part about that is it takes thinking slow. And we don't have time for that.
Yeah.
And so
I didn't have that chapter in my Daniel Kahneman. I had thinking fast and slow, but it never explained like, how do you think slow when the house is on fire? Maybe you have a chapter.
I literally, I know. I literally block out large chunks of time in my day.
Just to create space.
I need space.
Yeah.
Because creativity doesn't come in the chaos. It just doesn't.
No. It comes in the
and
shower usually, honestly.
it does come in the shower,
Yeah.
which is like it's that relaxing thing. And then the other thing that like the major process debt that we have, that we own, that we want to pretend that we don't have,
Yeah.
is that our email and our notifications drive us.
Well,
It's that simple.
I can't believe he just lifted the skirt like that on the dirty.
Yeah.
No, we were talking about this a couple weeks, right?
Yeah.
I mean, those are not about psychological safety. It's more like the Pavlovian bell. Ding-a-ling-a-ling.
Correct. But if you don't have, you know, I have had leaders that have said, hey, look, you have to think deep. If you're not thinking deep, then you're doing something wrong. Right. And so I have had leaders that have done that. And that to me that is world-class leadership in my mind.
Amen.
Because it gives you the freedom to say, I don't have to react. I can respond.
Yeah.
I can do the work. I can slow down and I can deliver, you know, whatever I need to deliver.
Yeah. That moment,
So some of
that breath is beautiful, you know?
it's magical. Like I think we as humans want to work more, and not in a work-life balance thing, but in like, we want our work to matter.
Yes. Yeah.
And you know, I've talked to other friends, and it's like, you know, me and my buddy were talking about it. Another friend of ours that went and worked at a startup, and he's you know, he's working 55 to 60 hours a week, and I'm like, I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah.
If it was aligned, and I knew that it was a value, and there was a clear marching orders, and there was a scoreboard, and there was things that I knew that I could have an impact. Because nothing's worse than putting in a solid, you know, a solid day and being like, oh, my typing fingers hurt.
Oh, baby.
Oh, my carpal tunnel.
Time to soak them.
Well, get the Epsom salt.
It's true though, because I'm with you. I don't mind hard work, but what makes the work hard to distinguish, there's enormous tasks that are difficult.
Yeah.
And that's why we train and study and practice, so that we can meet the challenge when it arises.
Yeah.
But so I don't mind hard work, but what I don't like is that sense of I'm expected to work hard. You know, let me bring my brain to the table, give me a minute to ask some questions of other experts and understand a better solution. But it's kind of like, hey, just a quick cut 20% of the workforce and we'll see what's broken.
Yeah.
Fire the entire, you know, department of whatever at the governmental level, and we'll see who we have to hire back.
Yeah.
It all smacks of the same hubris of a 22-year-old with their hand on the wheel.
Yeah.
So there's no psychological safety, I think, when people forget that they're interacting with people and that they're messing with people's careers. And that's the bit of the safety for me. Can I express an opinion that might not be popular, or can I suggest a process that doesn't meet the quarterly goal?
Yeah.
Because it takes a little long.
I think one of the things that managers miss is, I believe that a lot of people want to be more strategic in one-on-ones, or in the small groups. And if they have the ability to do that, then they're much more likely to disagree and commit in meetings. But that layer, like if you don't have that humanity in those one-on-ones and as a manager, then you're gonna miss some stuff, because then people just go quiet. And they check out, and you as a manager may or may not know if they've checked out or not.
Well, and that checking out, I kind of wonder if it's really the flip side of psychological safety. Maybe it's the fear of rejection. You know, how willing am I to float an unpopular idea or a novel approach? You know, if I don't feel safe, I'm sure not going to put that balloon out in front. And I'm not going to do it at town hall, you know?
No, that's my favorite. Town halls are my favorite. I love town halls because it's like, oh, get your popcorn. Who's going to say the career eliminating question today?
You go, Bob. You got this one. Tell them how it is, buddy.
You're feeding the crowd. You're like, I think we should say this.
I can't wait to get Bob's cubicle up against the window. That's going to be so great. bringing some plants.
Oh, crazy Bob. He's always asking those. You know, you're like, nothing is better than an offended C-suite person getting asked a question by some junior intern.
Totally.
It's the best. It's so funny. Oh my gosh.
God, now I just want to go to random town halls and see if I can encourage the young and uninitiated. What can we get them to do? That doesn't sound kind. That's
no, it's
I mean,
what's fun. We're totally over time, but we well,
I did 5 minutes.
I did write an article on like how you should ask the question.
Oh yeah,
which is basically changing the way that you are approaching it.
Yeah.
Meaning, you have to ask the question in a way that says, this is what I'm thinking. And I'm sure you've been in this situation. What did you do?
Yeah.
And it's this weird thing where you have to like, if you're an executive, you probably don't get that many props. It's got to be lonely up there.
Yeah. It doesn't, I don't think it gets better the higher up you go.
I mean, talk about the lack of psychological safety.
Totally. Come to your next board meeting so we can kick in your remaining teeth. You see? Totally.
Did you play hockey? Nope, just in the C-suite.
Damn near the same. Plenty of check. Chris, we're over time, but I always
we are
conversations, and thank you for bringing this up. I think psychological safety is something that I think there's a lot of emotion we don't talk about in the human in process that. So for folks that aren't digging that, then go find something else because
there's other podcasts out there. Yeah, we like it.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, Jen. See ya.